So I want to show you guys an interesting little something that I picked up the other day at a used book fair. This is something called Kids House of Light magazine. Now, actually, this appears to be a kind of bonus insert, kind of free little insert that was likely included with the grown-up version of the same magazine. So it seems that this magazine, Ie no Hikari, House of Light, is a kind of family magazine, kind of a general kind of family magazine, maybe like a Reader's Digest. Um, and this is the kids version. So maybe something, Reader's Digest, or there's if you're my age or older, you probably remember Highlights. So there's this magazine called Highlights for Kids, and it was kind of a general kids magazine. Anyway, yeah, Kids House of Light magazine. I picked this up for a couple bucks. I went to the book fair, like I said, and I was getting a little disappointed. It wasn't quite as good or as it usually is when I go. No, none of the vendors really had Mango or cards this time around. But then I found this, and I just really liked the baseball cover. So I flipped through it, and it does actually have some baseball content inside, so I picked it up. This is from 1956. And I will share some of what is in here with you guys. So yeah, let's kind of thumb through this magazine. Actually, the opening little story here really caught my eye. Well, not just because of the interesting art, the very beautiful art here. This is a kind of shortened, I guess you could say, Cliff Notes version of the story of Yuriwaka Daijin. Yuriwaka Daijin, in the story, he is a warrior, a general, but he is also, Daijin means minister. So in the story, he is what is known as the Minister of the Right. Which was a high-ranking government position in old Japan. One of the very top positions. So anyway, Yuriwaka is a general. He goes off to fight the Mongols who have invaded Japan. And he is successful in repelling the Mongols. However, he is actually betrayed by one of his own. And he is left abandoned on an island. And then he eventually, it's hard for me to get the focus working here, but just do it far away. So then eventually he makes his way home. And, of course, his wife is waiting for him back at home. And he finally comes home. And it's a story of his battles and then his homecoming. So if you think that this story sounds somewhat similar to the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, you're not the first person to think that. Some people are convinced that this is in fact a Japanese retelling of the story of Odysseus or Ulysses, right? The hero of the Odyssey. Who fought in the Trojan War and then had a perilous homecoming. For one thing, Yuriwaka is known for his iron bow, which is kind of like his signature weapon. And you might remember, or if you've read the Odyssey, or you were forced to in school or whatever, you might remember that Odysseus was also known for his bow. And his wife had all these suitors back in his kingdom, and they were all trying to get with his wife, but none of them could string Odysseus's bow. So then, of course, at the end, Odysseus comes back and strings that bow up and basically kills all his wife's thirsty suitors. So, anyway, so that's Yuriwaka Daijin. Some people think it's a Japanese retelling of Odysseus, but some people, I guess, are not as convinced, and that it's just sort of a coincidence. But anyway, enough of that. Let's just move on to some of the baseball content in here. Namely this page. So this is just a fun little page of photos featuring players from the Taiyo Whales. So in the top left corner here, that is Noboru Akiyama, who is a Hall of Fame pitcher. He played his entire career for the Whales. And then down here is the catcher, Doi, and his given name is escaping me right now, but he was a catcher for the Whales, and he should not be confused with Takeshi Doigaki. Doigaki was also a catcher of this era. So they were both catchers in roughly the same era, and they have similar names, but different players. So I thought this was cool, a little photo page of Taiyo Whales players. And then there's also, for example, you've got like this page. So this is actually basically like an introduction for kids to the Pro Baseball All-Star Game, to the Japanese Pro Baseball All-Star Game. So you've got, basically you have like this table here on the bottom right is all of the All-Star positions and the managers. You have the managers Mizuhara and Yamamoto for the Giants, and Nankai Hawks, who were the managers of the Central and Pacific League teams. And then basically this just tells kids like about the All-Star Game. So it's just a primer on like kind of what the All-Star Game is. And at that point, it's brief history. So the Japanese All-Star Game, there had only been a few before this time. So yeah, that's basically the main baseball content. I'll close this one out by showing you the back spread, which I think is really, really cool too. What a sign of the times. This was the 50s. The wonders of the automobile and multi-lane highways. Of course, nowadays, those things are kind of being rethought. We're going through kind of a potential reurbanization where, things like these massive highways and suburbs and things like that, people are kind of reconsidering their place in our society. But of course, at that time, this was the sort of post-war boom period, and the wonders of the automobile and the highways and things like that. So that I really think this was a really cool sort of time capsule little piece here. And then of course so is the back, the advertising on the back. Check out that washing machine. Okay, that's what I got for you as always. Thanks for watching. Peace.